The way you swim the 100 backstroke faster is by breaking it into 4 parts. 425's backstroke equals 100 backstroke, and in this video, I'm gonna walk you through the most important considerations for how you can swim the 100 backstroke faster. I'm gonna talk about a few different technical components that you need to keep in mind for not only a race, but also for training. And at the end of the video, I'm gonna walk you through a very specific workout. And what's most important, I believe the most important part of this video comes at the end, where I break down the actual workout, the sets, and what you need to do during those types of sets so you can actually execute and swim faster. Let's go ahead and get right into it. The first 25 is all about smooth sailing. If you don't like sailboats, that's okay, but you know what you see out on the water, a sailboat that's just floating by. The wind is filling up the sail and it's just cruising. That's what the first 25 should look like. That means your head position is easy. If you have a good underwater dolphin kick, which we'll talk about, you are not really applying too much effort, but you still went really fast, really efficient distance per kick, and you're just smooth sailing. You're feeling really good. You have easy tempo, and the biggest mistake that swimmers make in backstroke is that they force the tempo. Now we're going to talk about some drills to increase your tempo, so if that's your problem, stick around. We're going to talk about it. But the first 25, it's all about smooth sailing. You have easy tempo, which means you have a higher tempo, but you're not trying that hard to get that higher tempo. That's really, really important. The second 25, and again, this applies if you're in a short course pool or a long course pool. It's a little bit different in short course because the underwaters become more significant, but in terms of these concepts, they can be applied for the entire thing, short course or long course. So the second 25, you are starting to increase your tempo. Now, if you're in a long course pool and you're thinking about the 100 backstroke, basically the first 50 is a build. So you're starting to increase your tempo and you're building your intensity throughout the entire first 50. Now in the 100, you don't really have to worry about this until that second 25, because if you're trained properly and you follow the stuff we're going to talk about in this video, you already have this easy speed on the first 25, and it sort of just takes care of itself. Again, if you have the proper training. So you really start to worry about increasing your tempo and intensity on that second 25. You're basically building into the halfway mark. So it's 100, and if you break it apart, that's 250s or 425s. But on the first half, you're building, and then the second half is where you really need to elevate your intensity and your tempo and make sure your power is being put to work. So on the third 25, you are trying to really push that underwater. So if you're in long course or in short course, at the 50 mark, you are going to get in underwater, and you're coming home basically for the second half of this 100. So you really want to make sure you execute on that third 25, that push after the 50. That's your underwater. That's the fifth stroke we're going to talk about. And at this point, you are trying to maintain your tempo. It's very tempting to start to spin your wheels at this point. That means you're moving your arms faster than you can actually grab the water, and you don't want to get sloppy. So you're really trying to maintain things on that third 50, short course or long course. And when you get into that fourth 25, if you're in short course, you're really trying to maximize that final underwater. But if you're in long course or short course, you really have to focus on your body position, but not only your body position, but also your head position. So this is where people start to get sloppy and they start to fall apart because the tempo starts to slow down. You want to think about actually increasing your tempo, but that's more of a feeling type of deal. So you're not actually going to be moving your arms faster. That really came on the second 25. If anything, you're probably going to decrease your tempo through the entire race because you're getting tired, and that's okay. But you want to feel like you're maintaining tempo and then increasing tempo throughout the entire thing. Now, here's the huge caveat to that. You have to actually maintain your body position and technique, because that's the thing that goes out the window when you start to get tired. So even if you're spinning your arms just as fast as at the beginning of the event, if you're not pulling as much water and you start to fatigue and you start to look at your feet and your head's all over the place and your legs start to sink, well then that doesn't really mean anything because your body's gonna be lower, you're gonna swim slower, and that's not what we want. So we gotta really focus on our body position, our head position, and that all comes together here on the final 25, and that's where you really gotta put in the work. That's where it really starts to hurt. And all the stuff we're gonna talk about in this video from a training perspective and how you actually put it all together here really is designed to help you on the underwaters and also the third and the fourth 25 or the second 50 in long course, because that's when things really start to fall apart. Now, people always ask me, well, how am I supposed to split the 100 backstroke? Like, do I go, fast on the whole thing, or do I go fast and then let myself die? How much time should there be? If you look at your results or even a workout in, say, the MySwimPro app, how much time should there be between each of these? Now, the thing that's interesting about backstroke, which is not true for the other strokes, is that, let's take the 100 backstroke long course, for example. Between the second and the third 25, you're actually doing a flip turn, and the time is being recorded based off of your feet. And so when you think about that, if you have a 50-meter pool, that means you start with a backstroke start, and then the only time you're doing a turn, you actually flip over and you push off on your back. And then you finish the event touching on your back. And so the reason I'm saying this is that the time between the first 50 and the second 50 shouldn't be that much. Unlike breaststroke or butterfly, where you actually will have a bigger spread because you have to touch the wall and then you have to do an open turn and then push off. That adds about 0.7 or 0.8 or a second, depending on how fast your turn is, to the split. So to answer the question, how much time you want to have between the first 50 and the second 50, it's really only about 1 second. You should shoot for 2 seconds or less. Now, this really depends on how fast you're going. So if you're going about 30 seconds or 40 seconds or 25 seconds, the 2-second rule is pretty good. If you're, say, 50 seconds for a 50, then you might want to have up to 3 seconds between the first and the second 50. So for example, the first 50, you go 50 seconds. The second 50, you go 53 seconds. Anything more than that 53 means you're falling apart, you're not focusing on your technique, you're going out too fast, then you're dying, because the optimal is about 2 seconds. And we look at like the pros, they might only have 1.5 seconds or less between the first 50 and the second 50. Keep in mind, you have a backstroke start, so you get this additional explosion at the beginning of the event. Now let's talk about how you actually apply this on a technical level to make sure you can execute. So I have 4 different things written here. We're gonna go through them pretty quick. The first, and these are all drills by the way, and I'll explain why they're important and how you should think about implementing them. The first 2 are focused on rotation. Remember, backstroke is a long axis stroke like freestyle, so we really wanna make sure our rotation is in check. The first one, 3 strokes, 12 kicks. You take 3 strokes, you balance on your side for 12 kicks. Really focuses on balance on your side, getting that rotational momentum, which is so important in backstroke. The second one is single arm backstroke. You really have to power with your legs. Using fins is great because it allows you to really focus on that rotation and not feel like you're drowning. It's a little bit more complicated drill, a little bit more advanced to do properly, but it's so important because it really focuses on that rotation. Now the next drill is double arm backstroke. So now we're not focusing on rotation anymore. In fact, you have 0 rotation when you do double arm backstroke. That means you're doing both strokes at the same time. Instead, you're focusing on balance, and you're starting to increase your tempo. So with this drill, you want to be really controlled. You want to think about power. And then the final drill we have here is spin drill. This is all about tempo. There's very little rotation. You almost vertical in the water, and you're just training your body to move your arms as fast as possible, like a windmill. And that's why it's called spin drill. Because like I mentioned, one of the biggest mistakes that people make in training backstroke is just going too slow. Just because you're on your back doesn't mean you should be lazy. Yes, we want to have great technique with rotation, but we also have to put it together and really make sure we are spinning our arms as fast as possible in a controlled manner, and that really comes in for being able to control your tempo with variable speed. If you watch the best backstrokers in the world, whether it's the 50, 100, or 200, they are moving their arms pretty fast. And if you've ever watched yourself on video, you'll probably realize, wow, my arms are barely moving. And that's why it's so important to focus on tempo. Now let's move over to the actual training component. How do you improve your underwaters, your variance in speed and volume, and how do you incorporate equipment so that you can swim backstroke faster and smarter than ever before? I want to thank today's video sponsor, Underwater Audio. I gave their brand new SwimBuds bone conduction music player a test drive, and they are a game changer. It's their first open ear music player to leverage bone conduction technology to give you a great listening experience even while you're swimming. Now it's fully waterproof, and it doesn't take any extra wires that could get tangled in your goggles, which is great. You just fit the strap onto your head and you're ready to go. The music player has 8 gigs of storage storage, which is definitely enough for about 2,000 songs, so you can load up your music, drag and drop your favorite tunes right from your computer onto the device. Now there are 3 buttons on the player, so it's easy to skip, pause, play, and shuffle your music while you're in the water. Now I've tested out a few of the underwater audio waterproof music players, and this is the best one yet. Sound quality is great. So if you want to try it out, check out these SwimBuds bone conduction headphones for yourself, and you can save 15% with the code MySwimPro. I'm gonna put a link down below in the description for you guys. Thanks again to Underwater Audio for sponsoring the video. Now let's get back to the backstroke training. Let's improve our underwaters. If you're not familiar, underwater swimming is the 5th stroke in swimming. Yes, there are 4 competitive strokes, and we combine them to make the IM, but if you want to swim really fast, it comes down to the underwater stroke, because here's the deal. When you dive into the pool and you're in streamline and you're dolphin kicking, that is the fastest you will ever go in your life. I know it's a bold statement, but you will always go slower than when you dive in the water and you do your dolphin kicks. The second fastest phase of anyone's swimming ability is if you push off the wall in streamline and you maintain that dolphin kick. And if you want to get really technical, the fastest version of dolphin kick is actually on your back underwater. So when you're doing underwater dolphin kick, it's one of those things that you have to incorporate into all of your training. And we're going to talk about that here in this workout. And I want you guys to really pay attention to where I put the emphasis and what you should be thinking about when it comes to the underwater kick. You should be able to see the ceiling or the clouds through the water. That's how solid your body position is underneath the water, but it really comes down to training and making sure you have a very balanced underwater dolphin kick, which means you're kicking in training in all 4 planes of motion. You train dolphin kick on your front, on your sides, right and left, and on your stomach as well. The other component of training for backstroke, specifically the underwaters as well, is how much volume you're training and how much speed you're applying. I already mentioned that the biggest mistake that backstrokers make is just being lazy on top of the water and taking their good old time. For me personally, I'm a terrible backstroker. I'm just not as comfortable as I am on my back as I am on my stomach. And as a result, my tempo is pretty lackadaisical. I don't know if that's a word, but it's pretty slow on my back. And I have found that spin drill and really focusing on my tempo has helped me significantly. So training at speed with good variation is the most important consideration for those who find that they can't move their arms faster. You have to do those drills. You have to put in the work. And additionally, volume. If you're trying to be good at the 100 or 200 backstroke, and you want to hold it together and you want to push the underwaters and focus on your body position when you start to die, figuratively, not literally, it's not going to happen unless you have the volume. So we're going to talk about how that works here in the workout, and then you got to include equipment. So we're going to talk about that here in the workout, how we incorporate equipment, how we put it all together. This workout I custom wrote for this specific video. It's in the MySwimPro app. Now I have it here. I'm going to walk you through it. Now pay attention here, because some of the things I talk about, you really won't get anywhere else. This is the mind of a coach coming out and telling you, whether you're a coach or an athlete and you're watching this, this is what you should be thinking about when you do a workout like this or this specific workout. Now, keep in mind the intervals here are based on my swimming profile, so everything is customized within the app based on how fast you are. So if you think I'm slow or fast, it's really up to you, but the intervals will change based on your swimming profile. Keep that in mind. So we're gonna get into it. A 300 freestyle, nice and easy on the 5 minute. Then we're gonna go 650s kick on the minute. We're gonna put fins. Remember I talked about equipment. And when we're doing these 650s kick, we're gonna pay attention to how many dolphin kicks we take underwater in streamline. These are all gonna be done streamline on our back. And on the first one, we're gonna take 4 dolphin kicks on the way down, 5 dolphin kicks on the second 25. We're assuming this is done in a 25-meter pool, so keep that in mind as well. On the second 50, we're gonna go 5 dolphin kicks, 6 dolphin kicks, then 6 dolphin kicks, 7 dolphin kicks, 7, then 8, 8, then 9, 9, then 10. You might be thinking to yourself, holy crap, there's no way I can do 10 dolphin kicks underwater on my back in a kick set on the minute after doing 5 other kick 50s. And that's okay. This can be modified based on your level. So for example, let's say your underwater dolphin kick is not that strong. You can start out with 0 dolphin kicks underwater, and then you do 1 on the second 25. Then on the second one, you do 1 dolphin kick, then 2 dolphin kicks, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6. And you build yourself up, and depending on where you are, it should be pretty difficult on the last 2. The last one should really push yourself, but you should be able to make it. And that's how we're really developing the volume and the consistency that you need in a 100, especially in short course. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to hold it together and push the third 25 underwaters. We have that later in the set, but I just wanted to give you guys a preview of what we do in the warm-up to be able to get to that level. You should be focusing on maintaining your technique. Don't rush the underwaters. You should feel full engagement with your quads and your hamstrings, kicking up and down on every single kick. Next, we're going to go into 450s backstroke on the 55, where we actually apply this concept, but now we're going to be swimming. So we're going to swim 50s backstroke. We're going to take 6 dolphin kicks on the first 25, and then 8 dolphin kicks on the second 25 underneath the water. So we're basically negative splitting by stroke count. So we should have a little bit of a descent here, and you're negative splitting, meaning you're faster on the second half, and you're doing more dolphin kicks underwater. This is extremely difficult, and if you can just do this at this level, you're probably a really good backstroker, which is great. But now it's where the rubber hits the road, or where the feet hit the pool deck. It's the main set. We're gonna go a 300 free pull down with, not pull down, 300 freestyle pull with paddles. And so when we do this set, we're really focusing on developing our capacity, getting our heart rate up, so that way when we hit the main set, which is 8 100s backstroke, we are ready to go. Now the way we're gonna do these 8 100s backstroke, we're actually gonna go 2 rounds, and keep an eye on how we do this. The first one, you're gonna go 25 back, 50 free, 25 back. The second one, 50 free, 50 back. The third one, 50 back, 50 freestyle. And the fourth one is a 100 backstroke fast. So you get this variation, this aerobic capacity, what's going on here. You really wanna hit that fourth 100. And because we're doing 8 total, we're actually gonna run through that 2 rounds through. Those are on the 145. That should be an aerobic set, but you're really pushing yourself on number 4 and number 8. Then we go 100 easy, and then we repeat. The main set is 2 rounds through, so we go back to the 300. Now the post main set, this is a juicy one. I was thinking about, do we need to include this? And I thought, heck yes, we do. So we're gonna go 4 125s backstroke. That's a nice 1,000-meter segment. It's gonna be on the 2-minute. You're gonna put your fins on, and we're really gonna crank it on these. We're gonna focus on the first 25, 6 kicks on the start underwater, then 7 kicks underwater, 8 kicks underwater, 9 kicks underwater, and on the 5th 25, we're gonna crank out 10 kicks underwater. Now, if you can make it that far and you can do this set on the 2-minute in a meters pool, you're probably a national or world-class level backstroker, and you're really rocking it. So good for you if you can handle 10 dolphin kicks on the final 25. Again, you can modify this. So if you start out with 1 dolphin kick, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, that's great. But if you can handle it for 4 125s, you're gonna train yourself to be ready for a 100. If you can do it for a 125, you can do it for 100 without fins, and you can crank through it. And then finally, we're gonna go 650s freestyle on the 50. Nice cool down. Like I said, this workout is in the MySwimPro app, and if you haven't downloaded it, you should check it out. iPhone, Android, free download, but you should sign up for the subscription, so that way you can get access to this personalization where the workouts are dynamically tailored to you, including the intervals and all that good stuff. So make sure you let me know what questions you have down below in the comments. Love to hear from you guys. While you're down there, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and check out all of our other links, because we have so many amazing resources out there. If you like this video, you're gonna love our other videos on how to drop 10 seconds in the 100 breaststroke, 100 butterfly, 100 freestyle, 200 freestyle, and any of our other content. So I wish you guys the best. Talk to you later, and happy swimming. Bye.